YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to Bananas Epic Gaming. And today on Bananas Epic Gaming, we are filming episode 41 of CageTalk, and we're going to be doing a ranking video of the Conjuring universe. The Conjuring 3 just came out about 10 days ago as of this recording. I let enough time pass by so you can go see it. Full spoilers ahead. And I'm also going to be giving you guys a little update on the channel. We are currently in a move. We're moving houses, so I'm staying at my sister's until our other house is ready. The Among Us streams will be back. The 2K streams and all that will be back as soon as we move into the new house. So please be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date, and we have some amazing content that I'm going to try and produce for you guys coming up in the near future. So let's get into this ranking video, shall we? So out of the 8 movies that are in this universe so far, my least favorite is Annabelle. I'll tell you why right now. Spoilers ahead, and here we go. Annabelle is about John Form, a doctor, and his wife Mia, who live in Santa Monica, California. They're expecting a baby, and Mia collects rare porcelain dolls. And John gets a rare porcelain doll as a gift for their first child. And the dolls are in the child's nursery, and that doll is the doll that later becomes Annabelle. That night, John and Mia are disturbed by the sounds of their neighbors next door, the Higgins, being murdered during a home invasion. While Mia calls the police, John and her are attacked by the Higgins killers. The police then arrive and shoot one killer, the male, dead, while the female killer kills herself by slitting her throat inside the nursery while holding the doll. News reports identify the assailants as the Higgins' estranged daughter, Annabelle, and her unidentified boyfriend, both whom are members of a satanic cult. And as the movie goes on, the demon of the Annabelle doll in the movies tries to break Mia down and basically get her soul. And she almost becomes successful, but someone else sacrifices herself so Mia doesn't have to do that. I'm not going to go too into detail in case you guys haven't seen this movie, but go watch this movie if you want to have a Conjuring marathon. They're not that bad. I just don't like it because it's another killer doll movie, and it's a cash grab. And they did really good, though. $257.6 million on a $6.5 billion budget. That's really good for a spin-off movie. Now on to the next movie. Coming up next is going to be The Nun. I'll tell you why right now. The Nun is the first movie in the chronological order of The Conjuring, and it takes place in 1952 Romania, where 2 nuns living at the St. Catharina's Monastery are attacked by an unseen evil force after entering a tunnel to retrieve an ancient Christian relic. The surviving nun, Sister Victoria, flees from the attacker, who appears to be a demon appearing to be a nun. Sister Victoria hangs herself, and her body is later discovered by Frenchie, who is a villager who transports supplies to the nuns. The Vatican learns of the incident and summons Father Burke to Rome, where they ask him to travel to Romania with Sister Irene, who is a nun in training. They get to Romania, they meet Frenchie, they go to the Abbey, and they discover Sister Victoria's body, and they take the key from her corpse. They meet the Abbeys, who informs them that the nuns observe a period of silence during the night and offers them lodging, and from there everything happens that happens in this movie. The nun appears to have escaped after a bomb during World War II accidentally opens the rift. The rift was sealed by the Knights of Christian with a vial of blood of Christ. Now, spoiler alert for The Conjuring. After they defeat Valak, who is the demon nun, that's the name of the nun, the demon nun, Valak attaches himself to Frenchie, and 20 years later, we see a university seminar in Massachusetts where Ed and Lorraine Warren possess footage of an attempted exorcism, where we see Frenchie in the footage. Frenchie grabs Lorraine and gives her visions of Ed dying, which ties into the events of The Conjuring. Now, this movie did really good at the box office, and there is currently a sequel in development. It made over 300 mil in profit, and I can see why this Conjuring universe is so successful. They did good casting with Sister Irene, whose older sister plays Lorraine Warren. I don't know if that was intentional or there's a little nod, or they're trying to say that the nun from this movie is Lorraine Warren. But yeah, I personally like this movie, but it's slow because the other movies, in my opinion, are better. Now on to the next movie. And the next movie on this list is The Curse of La Llorona. I'll tell you why right now. This movie is vaguely connected to the Conjuring universe, with ties of a character from Annabelle and them hinting at the Warrens. This is about the folklore of the Weeping Woman. The tale goes she drowned her children in a river long ago, and now today she haunts other children that she can steal away. She attracts children by crying, and once she has them, she takes them and kills them in some way, because she's an evil spirit, demon, entity in the movie. As a story, if you write it well, and you can have a good story because it's eerie and creepy. And I went into this hoping that it wouldn't be just a movie with a bunch of jump scares, and that's exactly what it was. But it had some good jump scares, a couple, and the fact that they actually took a risk and they made a movie on her, La Llorona, and that is decent enough to put it past the first Annabelle and the Nun in my book. This movie was a letdown in some sort. It had Velma from Scooby-Doo, or the Hawkeye's wife, I believe she is, in the Avengers movies. It made over $100 million on profit. I don't think there is a sequel in works for this movie, because how could you have a sequel? Yeah, they teased it at the end, but the only ties it has to The Conjuring is it teases the Warrens and the priest from Annabelle, and they talk about Annabelle, if my memory is correct. I haven't watched this movie in a long time, but that's where it's placed on my list. Now on to the next movie. And the next movie is going to be The Conjuring Part 2. I'll tell you why right now. The Conjuring 2's case that the movie's based on is the Enfield poltergeist case. The movie starts in 1976 where Ed and Lorraine Warren, played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, again, who come back from The Conjuring 1, they investigate the Annabelle horror house. And there you have it. We're not getting an Annabelle horror Conjuring movie, hopefully. Because there's too many Annabelle movies. And in 1974, a haunting incident involving the Lutz family, which is the Annabelle horror house. During a seance, Lorraine is drawn into a vision where she relives the murders and encounters a demon nun figure. And in case you're wondering, this is how the nun got her own movie. She witnessed Ed being impaled and she's badly frightened. And then you flash forward 1 year later from 1976, where after they did the Annabelle house in 1977, they do the Enfield Poltergeist case. And that is in London. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to spoil the movie for you if you haven't seen it. It made over $200 million in profit. It made $3.21.3 million off a $40 million budget. And Hollywood, that's a success. And flash forward, Ed and Lorraine fight the nun. They find out the nun's name. It's Valak. And the Crooked Man's there. And the Crooked Man is apparently getting a movie soon. Last time I checked, that some people signed on to it, and they were writing the story. The Conjuring 2 is my least favorite of the main Conjuring series of the Conjuring 1, 2, and 3. But it was a decent sequel, and the trope that sequels suck is not true here. Because The Conjuring 2 is a decent horror movie, popcorn flick, movie marathon for you to watch with your friends or your significant other during the Halloween season, or during the season where a new Conjuring movie is coming out if you want to watch all of them. And that's all I'm going to say about this one. Would I watch it again? Yes, I would. Would I watch The Curse? Yes. The Nun? Only if I have to. Annabelle? Only if I have to. The Conjuring 2, I believe it spin off into The Nun, and then it produced Annabelle 2, Annabelle Creation, because we knew that was coming anyway. Now on to the next movie. The movie that's up next is Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Creation starts off with a doll maker named Samuel Mullins and his wife Esther, who are grieving the loss of a 7-year-old daughter named Annabelle, whose nickname is B. B dies when she accidentally steps in front of a car and it gets ran over. 12 years later, the Mullins open their home to provide shelter for his sister Charlotte and 6 girls who are left homeless by the closing of their orphanage. We later find out that Charlotte kind of has ties to Valak, because she shows a photo and you can see Valak hiding in the shadows. A young orphan named Janice, who is disabled by polio, discovers a note saying "Find me," and sneaks into B's room after being warned not to. Once she mysteriously becomes locked in, she tries to find a key. She opens B's closet and she sees the eerie porcelain doll that we all know that is Annabelle from previous movies. Unwillingly releases the powerful demon that begins to terrorize the others and herself. One night, the demon taking B's form appears to Janice, saying that she wants her soul. And from there on out, the other orphans and Sister Charlotte and the Mullins all try to get rid of the demon and try to survive. The Mullins die. The sisters Charlotte and the other orphans, they manage to get Janice into the blessed closet after Janice gets possessed when the demon, aka B, it was manifesting as B, throws it up into her mouth. The other orphans' names are Carol, Nancy, Kate, and Terry, and Linda. As the orphans and Sister Charlotte get escorted off the property by the police find out that Janice manages to escape through a hole in the closet, and she relocates herself at Santa Monica, California. Still possessed, she becomes reclusive and calls herself Annabelle. The Higgins family soon adopts Annabelle. 12 years later, a grown-up Annabelle joins a satanic cult, and along with her boyfriend, they murder her adoptive parents while they catch the attention of their next-door neighbors. And that ties into Annabelle 1. This movie, it has a post-credit scene of the demon figure Nun. It's uncredited, and it ties into or shows that the Nun movie is coming. They also have a scene with a scarecrow in a barn. They could possibly make a movie about that if they really wanted to and really milk this universe for every penny, but I don't see them doing that. Annabelle Creation is a nice popcorn flick, and I like watching it. Now on to the next movie. Alright, I also have a really soft spot for the actress that plays, what's her name? It's Carol. She's a tremendous actress. She plays in Shazam. She's Mary in Shazam. She's great in that movie, and she's great in this movie too. Now on to the next movie. And the next movie is gonna be The Conjuring Part 3. The Devil Made Me Do It. And I'll tell you why right now. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, is the latest entry to the Conjuring franchise that came out on June 4th, 2021, my birthday this year. As of this recording. The movie takes place in 1981, where Ed and Lorraine Warren document the exorcism of 8-year-old David Gazelle, attended by his family, his sister Debbie, her boyfriend Arnie Johnson, and Father Gordon, in the town of Brooksfield, Connecticut. During the exorcism, Arnie invites the demon into his body instead of David's. Ed witnesses the demon transport itself from David to Arnie while he suffers a heart attack and is taken to a hospital in a comatose state. The following month, Ed wakes up in the hospital and reveals to Lorraine that he witnessed the demon enter Arnie's body, and she sends the police to the kennel and warns them of a tragedy that will occur there. Arnie and Debbie return to their apartment located above the kennel, where Debbie works. After feeling unwell, Arnie murders his landlord, Bruno Solis, by stabbing him 22 times while under the influence of a demonic possession. With the support of the Warrens, this case becomes the first case in American murder trial to claim demonic possession as a defense. And the Warrens try to prove him innocent. They go to Father Kastner and they start the investigation. They learn that there's some ties to another town over from somebody killing her friend. I believe it was Katie who killed Jessica. I'm not sure, or Jessica killed Katie. and they needed Arnie to kill himself, and they needed somebody of God to die. My memory is correct. I saw this opening night, and it's been a while. It's the 17th as of this film. Again, I can't remember because I only watched it once. They end up breaking the curse because the occultist, who is Father Castaner's daughter, gets defeated. Ed places the cup from the altar in the room of the artifacts, along with the valid painting of the Annabelle doll. Arnie is convicted of manslaughter, but only ends up serving 5 years of his sentence after marrying Debbie in prison, and Ed shows Lorraine a replica of the gazebo where they first kissed. And that seems like it could be the end of the main story Conjuring of Ed and Lorraine Warren, or they could make another one. They could do the werewolf one, maybe. But it's doing good in the box office, so maybe they might make another one. I don't mind these movies. And this one was really good. It was a step in the right direction, in my mind. Now on to the second movie on my list. The second best movie in the Conjuring universe, in my mind. And in my mind, the second best movie in the Conjuring universe is Annabelle Comes Home. And I'll tell you why right now. Annabelle Comes Home stars Madison Arizme, Katie Sarifa, Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson. And it picks up right where the Conjuring 1 starts. They pick up Annabelle from Debbie and Camilla, who are nurses who got Annabelle as a gift from one of their moms. I forgot which person. During the drive home, the doll summons spirits to attack Ed, but he narrowly survives. Annabelle is then locked and sacred in a glass case in the couple's artifact room that is blessed by Father Gordon to ensure the evil is contained. Sometime later, the Warrens welcome Mary Ellen, who is played by Madison Arizma, who will be in charge of babysitting their daughter Judy at the house while they travel to investigation overnight on another case. And I believe this is the case from The Conjuring 1. Or it's a case before that. At the school, Judy notices the spirit of a priest that begins following her. Mary Ellen's friend Daniela, played by the beautiful and multi-talented Katie Sarifa, arrives uninvited to the Warren's house, who is secretly curious about speaking to the dead. She then sneaks into the artifact room and examines every item, ultimately trying to contact her late father. She leaves Annabelle's case unlocked, and that's when the terror begins, with Annabelle's spirit of B. Mullins unleashed. That night, Annabelle begins releasing other spirits such as the Ferryman, the Bride, Feely Mealy, and the Black Snook. The Black Snook was the werewolf that attacked Bob. Bob comes to the house to serenade Mary Ellen and gets attacked by the Black Chinook and hides in the Warren's backyard. Mary Ellen and Daniela and Judy Warren, the Ed and Lorraine's daughter, have to fight the demons throughout the night, and they eventually end up getting Annabelle back in the case, and everything ends. Ed and Lorraine Warren return the next morning, and the girls approach them to recount the night full of events. Later, many friends gather to celebrate Judy's birthday. Daniela apologizes to Lorraine, who gives her a comforting message from her father. And that is the plot for this movie. I really like this movie. It is a good popcorn horror flick. Katie and Madison did tremendous in this movie. And I'm surprised they're not making another Annabelle with the success that this movie did. They could make the Ferryman get his own movie and the Wolf get his own movie, but only time can tell. This is a really good movie in my mind. You should give it a watch if you like scary movies and you like a popcorn flick. Now on to the number one Conjuring universe movie in my mind. And if you can't guess it by now, the number one movie is the original Conjuring. And I'll tell you why right now. We start off with the Annabelle doll, like I said earlier, but this movie is about Roger and Carol Perrin who move into a farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island in 1971 with their daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April. And from there on out, things are okay at first, but things start to turn to the bad side. The first few nights, all the clocks stop at 3:07 a.m. Birds fly through the windows, and Sadie, their family's dog, is found dead on night one. Christine encounters a malevolent spirit. Another night, Carol hears clapping in the hallway and becomes trapped in the basement. Andrea and Cindy are attacked in their bedroom by a spirit believed to be the one that Christine encountered earlier on in the movie. Christine contacts the Warrens, who have recently investigated a possessed doll called Annabelle. The Warrens agree to take the case. They conduct an investigation, concluded that the house may require an exorcism, but they need to get the approval from the Catholic Church and furthermore give more evidence before they can proceed. They discover that the house once belonged to an accused witch named Bathsheba Sherman. We find out a relative of Mary Towan estate, who sacrificed her week-old baby to the devil and killed herself in 1863 at 3:07 a.m. after cursing all who come to take her land. And I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end. You're going to have to go watch this movie. This movie was deemed too scary, and they tried for a PG-13 rating, and they were told there's nothing that they could do. It's going to be rated R because it is deemed too scary. This is based on a true story, and one of the actresses, Joey King, was having trouble on set. Go watch the Howard Stern interview where they talk about The Conjuring, and the family came out and said that the Warrens wasn't a happy ending, basically. I was trying to put it into words that aren't bad. That they left it worse than it was when they arrived. And the Conjuring franchise branched off from here, and this spawned multiple movies and multiple spin-offs, and we come back to this movie and it's one of the best horror movies of this generation in my mind. It's a really good horror movie, and I like it. I like watching it. It's one of my favorite paranormal movies to watch anytime, especially on Halloween. And that's going to be it for The Conjuring. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Tap the little bell on the YouTube app so you never miss an upload. We're on the road to 500 subs. We're going to get there soon, and I'll be back as soon as we move into the new house. We're just waiting for the house to be ready. And take it easy.